start on the installation from the controller. Everything starts from there, meaning how long is my home run from the controller to first light? That will determine my connection and if I need any additional component like a receiver before my very first light. So once we've decided that, we can begin on our layout of the wiring of the installation. Once I decide where the home runs will start, then my installer who's assisting me can begin from that point, or any point like a peak, for example. As I'm meeting with the customer, co-lead or other crew members will be down stacking those ladders, getting those prepared, laying out their track and lights accordingly, so that way we can move at an efficient manner.
Okay, now we are starting on our home run wire, the main starting point for the lights themselves. This is where the bid told me that we were starting. This is a chimney or another add-on to the house. The garage stops about where this door is. So I've already been up in the attic access. I know that I can get to this location inside the attic. Now I will punch a hole with a 3/4 inch hole saw into the soffit. I will shove a 5-foot glow rod up inside of there. They glow in the dark, so it's easy to find. You don't have to go all the way back to the soffit line. It'll be a little easier for me to get to it right here, and then I can drag my wire back after I've ran it. But you just want to go right on the inside of this fascia lip here, so your track will cover it. Put a hole in there. I like to put 2 just because it's a little easier for me to put my wire up in there after I've done it. Now, let's shove this up inside. Hopefully it doesn't slip out, and then we will go up into the attic.
So as Jetty's in the attic, to help assist him identify where this glow rod and home run is, that main 16-4, going back to our controller, I'm going to slide this forward, knocking it around to help him identify that, or even pushing it further in. That's going to help him grab it like he's just been able to do. So I'm assisting my lead of this installation, making it easier for him, working in tandem, and we have efficiency on this installation.
So I have pulled my home run out, came in clear over there in the side of the attic, pulled it to here. I've located that my controller is going to be directly below me through this header board down here. Just this piece of wood right here I will be drilling through, and that will get me down to that hole that I have cut in the garage.
All right, so while Jetty's going into the attic to get our home run, I'm going to help him locate where he's going to drop that line down. And I'm just going to use one of my glow rods, and I'm going to slide this up the hole that he's made. And I can see we have some fire blocking here, so let's see if we can get around that. We cannot get around that, but that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have some light taps on that fire blocking. With that noise and Jetty in the attic, it's going to help him identify which lane between those studs he needs to go down, so that way we can pull that home run out of this hole that he's made for us.
So that will be my pilot hole, and then I have discovered that there's fire blocking halfway inside the wall, so now I will be using this 5-foot flex bit to get through that fire blocking. I will electrical tape my home run wire to that flex bit, and then I will just pull the flex bit out of the wall with the wire. Hey, Q!
Q! Yes, sir.
Can you tell if that's that blocking?
Yes.
Okay. You see me? And then this is another little trick of the trade here. If you're ever going through a tight hole and you don't want to tape your wire to the side of whatever you're putting down through your hole. You can step on it and pull it, and it'll basically just sheet the casing inside itself a little bit. So now I can take this bit off while still holding on to it so it doesn't fall down the wall. Shove my home run wire on the end of it, and then now it'll just be a straight shot all the way down without any hiccups. And then I'm ready for him to pull that now.
So Jetty's got that hole drilled for us. I'm just gonna grab one of my handy hooks and we're gonna pull that drill bit out so we can run our home run down. And let's bring it around here. Okay, a little push. Oh, looks like we lost our home run in the wall. Let's switch to a glow rod and try it again. Our lead has dropped one of our glow rods to help us identify that line and pull out our home run. So I should be able to find it in here. And there it is. We had some fire blocking, so we drilled 2 holes, one through the fire blocking from the attic down, and then one in the attic through the header board. So in the attic, going through the header board, through fire blocking, and then coming out here where our controller is going to cover that penetration. Now I'll pull that out. There we go, right at that bend. Just held up a little bit at the bend, and there we are. Good practice that we like to do just to ensure we have plenty of line is we'll just take that right to the floor. That's the necessary distance. That's going to give me plenty of wire to give me a service loop once I've made those connections. If I ever need to service the job down the road, I can cut that line back and I still have some line to work with. So longevity of the job, having that service loop is going to be crucial and important. So on this installation, we had that fire blocking and that header board to drill through. So one other alternative route that you could take is instead of the attic coming down, we can work from the garage going up to the attic. We'll use one of our glow rods. If we had no fire blocking, we'd be able to pass this through our hole that we've made all the way into the attic, taping our wire on the end of our glow rod and then feeding it up into the attic. And that's going to help us find it. Then we can go into the attic, grab our line, and pull it the rest of the way. Once we have our wire, we could take that to our starting point, wherever that's going to be on that installation. So you can work from the garage out or work from under the eave, feeding your line in down into the garage. So given how that construction was assembled, one of those routes may be better for you than the other. So you can just choose that best fits your installation game plan. So we're getting ready to mount our proprietary technology of our Jellyfish controller. This is a 48-volt power supply in this controller for the Eve Light product line. One important thing when we open our controller, we have our antenna taped to the inside on that power supply. So we're just going to take that tape off and screw our antenna on the top so we can find that local Wi-Fi network that we want to connect to. We have a manufactured plug on that controller, so it's going to plug into our standard 110, and we're going to mount that level with one of our torpedo levels on that stud in the garage, pulling our home run through one of our pop outs like this one here on the back. We can just pop that one out. And now our 16.4 can pass right through there, concealing that home run so we have no exposed wire. And then we're plugged right into our standard 110, making sure our power shutoff is flipped forward so that we can power our controller on and start connecting it to our local network. Given if we were going to take another route, we have alternative pop-outs already ready to be knocked out for that wire or multiple. Maybe you're hooking up a controller and power supply, you have multiple main lines, you have a couple alternative routes to take given the best course of action for that installation. One thing I'm going to keep in mind when I go to mount my controller is this power supply area. I don't want to drill my own holes. In doing so, I'm going to void my warranty, and I may even drop metal shavings into these terminals, causing unnecessary damage. So to avoid that entirely, I'm going to utilize these knockouts that are already in here. It'll just pop out where need be. Maybe you have a couple lines and you need more room. Well, instead of widening that hole, we're going to pop out somewhere else that we may need. So that could be either the side or the top or on that opposing side. So besides that hole on the back, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 alternative routes to pull that wire in. So 6 pre-drilled holes and knockouts for you. That should be plenty regardless of that orientation or layout of optimization of your equipment. So just to reiterate, we don't want to drill our own holes or widen those holes. We want to utilize those knockouts that are there for us. We've even pre-drilled some holes where you're going to mount that controller to the stud, so you can utilize those as well, avoiding any shavings coming in those important terminals. So we can keep good health on that controller there, adding longevity to our installations.
Now we will be mounting the controller. I will be taking my wire, I will be shoving it through that hole that Q popped out earlier. I'll be pulling it all the way tight so I don't have any slack behind my box. Be covering my hole like that. And then you want to line up these pre-drilled holes inside your box on the stud as much as you can so you can cover the stud fully. We will be using just a 1/4 inch rubber grommet wall mount screw. I also have an extension on this bit because if I were to just use just the regular, it does not fit inside all the way. I cannot get to it and screw it all the way, so having an extension will help with mounting the box. Then I have my torpedo level here. We will get this box leveled out for us, just like that. Then I will do one more screw in the bottom so it can be fully secured. Make sure you're getting these wires out of the way too, so you're not pinching them as you're mounting it. And that is secured to the wall now. You can tell, you can pull on it, shake on it, it's not going to go anywhere. Then next, I like to take my wire and bring it all the way to this corner. So in case somebody has to move it or change the box or add something, they have that extra bit of wire to it. We'll just cut that like that. Then I'll be taking this tool here. It's a little stripper. It's got a blade, a little teeny tiny blade in the middle there. You can just shove your wire on it, pull it towards you, and it completely strips that entire casing for you. And now we can cut off this access with these quick strips here. You can just find them at any local Home Depot. Then I'll be stripping my wires to not super long, but just long enough that I can fit them inside of the ports that they need to go into. And I will take my red main power wire, plug it into the 48 red in here in this port 1. So we are only using one wire for this entire install. Next, you will take your black and your green redundant and you will twist them together as a standard hookup on this house because our home run is less than 50 feet long. If it was over, you would separate them into their own sections. And then you will take the white and you will plug it into the D+ white in the same section on port 1. And that is a standard hookup for less than a 50-foot home run.
So Jetty, our lead installer on this job, has got us connected with a standard connection at the port. That means that this wire, our home run going to its first light, is under 50 linear feet. There's only 2 connections that we would make at each individual port, and that's going to be one of 2 things. The variable black and green together in the black terminal, standard, under 50 feet. Alternative, we're going to separate the green, green to green. We're going to match up all these colors. That's going to be a boosted connection at the port or transmitting from the controller's port. So we'd go color for color if our wire is over 50 linear feet. And then as a result, we'd add a receiver on that wire before our very first light, before we start that installation on that section. Why our connection would change is to ensure that we have strong signal quality on the communication going through that home run to its first light. But we're going to take each port as its own scenario. So we may have different connections from each port given that specific wire length.